You can slow down the advance of technology only for so long, and you put your head in the sand, and then at some point, someone that doesn't happen to share your fear of the technology uses it to send a robot-driven swarm army, right, to topple your particular political system. And then people are like, oh, yeah, well, I guess airplanes work, when they start dropping bombs on our head. It's like, well, they're not using horses on us anymore. They used, because machine guns and tanks actually seem like a better idea.
Every major leap in human history has been powered by technology. Fire, electricity, the internet, and now, according to Michael Saylor, Bitcoin is the next evolutionary step, not just in money, but in how humanity stores value itself. Saylor argues that Bitcoin is the best asset in the world because it combines absolute scarcity with global accessibility. Unlike gold, it can move at the speed of the internet. Unlike fiat, it can't be printed, debased, or politically manipulated. Its digital property secured by math, energy, and the largest decentralized network ever created. History shows us something important. People almost always reject transformative technology at first. Many dismissed the internet, smartphones, even electricity, not because they were useless, but because they didn't yet understand how deeply these tools would reshape society. Bitcoin is facing the same resistance today, but this isn't just about price. Bitcoin represents a revolution in trust, ownership, and sovereignty. A monetary system where individuals, not institutions, hold the power. And as Saylor explains, this shift is only getting started. Stick around as we bring you more insights from Michael Saylor, breaking down why Bitcoin may define the future of money. If you're finding value here, like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe. We bring you daily Bitcoin and crypto insights you won't want to miss.
Paradigm shifts come when the old guard dies or when there's a war. And science advances one funeral at a time, right? And that's how this stuff is going to advance. And maybe the death will be the death of the bank. Maybe it'll be the death of the corporation. Maybe it'll be the death of the city-state. The banking capital of the 20th century won't be the banking centers of the 21st century because the money will move.
What about quantum computing? People must ask you this. They've been asking me for 5+ years. Will a cryptographically relevant quantum computer pose a threat to Bitcoin? And if so, how should the Bitcoin world be thinking about mitigating or defending against that threat?
Pessimist imagines a problem and thinks the world is doomed, and they kind of feed on their pessimism and gloat over it. And the optimist imagines the problem and sees us solving the problem and how the world will be a better place. So let's take quantum computer.
We've all been hearing the buzzwords lately. Quantum computing, revolutionary machines, next-gen processing power. And naturally, one question keeps coming up in crypto. Can quantum computers break Bitcoin? Before we go there, let's level set. Quantum computing is a completely new way of computing that uses the laws of quantum physics to process information. Unlike classical computers that work with simple on-off bits, quantum computers use qubits, which can explore many possibilities at once. That sounds scary, but here's the key point most headlines skip. Quantum computers are not general-purpose machines. They don't replace your laptop, your phone, or today's servers. They are specialized tools designed for very specific, high-complexity problems like molecular simulation, optimization, and advanced research. Now, this is where Michael Saylor makes a crucial clarification. Every time computing power evolves, the entire world upgrades. Banks update security. Apple, Microsoft, Walmart upgrade software. Governments patch systems. The internet itself evolves. And Bitcoin is no exception. Saylor explains that Bitcoin isn't frozen in time. It's a living protocol. If quantum computing ever reaches a point where current cryptography is at risk, Bitcoin can and will upgrade its cryptographic standards, just like every other critical system on Earth. In fact, Bitcoin's open source nature gives it an advantage. Threats are studied publicly. Solutions are tested in advance. And upgrades happen long before emergencies arrive. So the real takeaway? Quantum computing doesn't kill Bitcoin. It pressures everything to evolve, and Bitcoin is built for exactly that. That's why Saylor argues Bitcoin remains the most secure monetary network ever created, not despite technological progress, but because it adapts alongside it. Let's get more insights from Michael Saylor.
There's going to be a point when the world will form a consensus that there's a quantum threat. We're not there now, but you won't miss it because the United States government will direct all of the defense contractors to upgrade their encryption algorithms to be quantum resistant. And Microsoft and Apple and Google will ship a quantum upgrade. And your bank, let's say you've got your money at JP Morgan, they will ship an upgrade and they will say, you know, there's a need for us to upgrade our encryption algorithms. So please install the new client software and re-authenticate yourself. And you've got X days, 90 days, 30 days, whatever number of days to do this. And if you don't, we're going to freeze your funds for your own good. Okay, it's not that complicated. Every single system on Earth, every iPhone, every Android phone, can you imagine you walk into the office and your boss says, your IT guy goes, we need to upgrade our software to be quantum resistant now. And you're like, well, I just decided I don't want to. Okay, well, that's a condition of employment. How many people are going to say, I just decided I didn't want to upgrade the software? You're not going to have a job. You're going to come back from the border and they're going to say, you know, you need the quantum resistant border software. You're like, well, I just would rather come back to the country without it. You're not getting in, right? And so at the point where we have global consensus, it's like Y2K, it's like anything else. There's not going to be a debate. The Bitcoin network just runs on software. There's going to be a quantum upgrade. It's going to have quantum resistant encryption libraries. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not the same libraries that are in the iPhone and the Android phone and the Microsoft network. It's going to be a global standard and people are going to debate it. We're going to roll out the system and then everyone is going to upgrade to the software. We're going to re-encrypt all the Bitcoin and all the wallets and anything that is susceptible to quantum threat. It's going to get re-encrypted if the holders of the private keys are alive and if they like money. If they're dead, they're not going to re-encrypt. And if they've lost the keys, they're not going to re-encrypt. This is going to be a massive upgrade to network security, and it's going to be a massive deflationary event. And we're going to get the answer to the age-old question, how much Bitcoin's been lost? And if the number is 5 million, we're going to see that the supply of Bitcoin is going to go from 21 million to 16 million, and the price of Bitcoin is going to go up.
Interesting.
Right? And ultimately, the quantum leap, call it the Bitcoin quantum leap, is going to be the best thing to ever happen to the Bitcoin network. Right? And the only difference between the way that a bank handles it and the way the Bitcoin community handles it is because we're global and more decentralized. We're probably going to do this not over the course of 30 days or 90 days. It'll probably take 2 years or 1 year.
Right.
Or some amount of time. But, you know, you're going to argue to me that some dude that's got $1 billion of Bitcoin is going to decide they just don't want to upgrade? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right? And in this particular case, you could say, you know, the haters, the skeptics, like, well, you're not going to get consensus. Really? Like all the smart people with money in the world that thought it was smart to put their money on the crypto network, you think they're the people too stupid to want to upgrade? I think you're going to get consensus. Like, well, it'll be too decentralized. You know how decentralized the United States government is? Right? You realize how many defense contractors there are? Like, you know, the Walmart supply chain, if you actually look at the supply chains in the world, there's 100,000 companies that are all going to have to upgrade. They're going to figure it out, right? And so in this particular case, there's going to be an upgrade. The network security is going to upgrade. The wallet addresses that don't upgrade are getting frozen. No one's going to complain because the only people that don't upgrade will be dead people.
Got it.
Right? And the dead are not going to complain about it. Yeah. And those that lost their wallet, they lost their private keys, is not going to matter. It's going to be a good thing. And this is just a natural challenge and response. You know, the network is going to be strengthened and hardened by this because intelligent people normally respond to challenges in an intelligent way. The only people that think the community won't are people just hate Bitcoin.
Yeah.
They hate the Bitcoiners, they hate the Bitcoin community, or they have a personal agenda of spreading fear and uncertainty and doubt for some evil, nefarious purpose, generally because they want to sell you something. They want to neg you and they want to make you insecure, so you'll give them your money so they can control you or manipulate you some way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very important to transcend that fear and cynicism and skepticism and get on with your life, because otherwise you'll never accomplish anything. When 8 billion people in the world have global consensus that quantum computers are a threat, I believe we should upgrade the software.
Got it.
But when half the community believes it's a bad idea and the other half the community believes, I think you should slow down, right, these changes. I think we should be very, very conservative about the default settings. We should be very conservative about the protocol. I've said before many times that if you wanted to undermine the network, the way you do it is by infinite funding of highly qualified developers and tell them to improve it. Mm-hmm. And I think at its base, Bitcoin is a monetary protocol, and the lack of rapid mutation is the feature, not the bug, right? And so I think I'm not in the camp of people enthusiastically adding features to it. And I think that, you know, the way that you wreck a good thing is you speculate that it will fail unless you add a boatload of features to it. And I think if you're introducing a change which is so controversial, you might want to slow it down.
Okay, that's
right?
helpful.
You might want to slow it down.
Yep.
And you want to think a little bit. And I always think there's unintended consequences, second order, third order, fourth order, you know? And so I think it's a healthy debate. I empathize with the people that just don't like someone effing with the network. Don't F with the network.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the path of least resistance, the path of travel, the most likely outcome right now is Bitcoin emerges to be a $200 trillion world reserve capital network. And everything you think is a bug is probably the feature. That's probably the reason it's succeeding.
Yeah.
And when you try to fix the things that you think are the bugs, you might not. And that's why even if you take the elephant in the room, like the quantum threat, I'm not in favor of rushing it.
Yeah.
It's like I think that rushing, to solve global warming, for a while people thought, aerosol spray was going to destroy the ozone and kill us all. It's like there's always something. And then they thought nuclear energy was going to kill us all. And then they thought blah, blah, blah. If we don't go to solar power, it's going to kill us all. And then they thought the ocean was going to rise and flood Miami Beach and it's going to kill us all. And all of these things are normally alarmist. And what follows next is a law that taxes everybody, or restraint of trade, or therefore I'm seizing control of the government to prevent you from blank. And so I just think that generally we ought to be very conservative about protocol bloat. We should be conservative with the clients. I think it's healthy. It's healthy to have more clients. I think it's healthy to have people working on alternate versions of Bitcoin, and I think it's healthy to have the debate. And I think we just ought to be very, very careful with the protocol.